Thank you. Thank you. A warm welcome. Good morning to everybody. Sun is coming out. Great day. You choose the right presentation to start your day. Why? Because you will hear something which will be a little bit an inside information you don't get anywhere else. So I have the honor to basically show you something which is coming up. And that is about the SD-WAN platform, and that's about how we do that cloud delivered. So let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Philipp Hausner. I'm based out of Munich, so you have to get used to my strange German accent. Sorry for that, can't help with that. If you don't get it, just let me know. I'd repeat the same sentence again, right? So what I'm doing, I have the honor to lead the technical solutions architects across EMEA to do SD-WAN. So our team is basically looking after the SD-WAN implementations with customers, with service providers around the European markets. So if you have questions, you can always use our wonderful WebEx app here. There will be chat rooms available. So if you don't have the question now, we can put it later on and have a discussion on that one. With that, let me go what I want to show you today in the next 4 to 6 hours. I think we will go through that presentation, no problem, right? So I want to go with you into what is the SD-WAN about. So just a little refresher for all of us, where we are, what's going on. And then I give you a solution overview, and we will go into a demo of something you don't see anywhere else here. And then we can maybe look a little bit at different information, and I'm happy to answer questions later on. So let me talk a little bit about the SD-WAN market. First of all, who of you is using SD-WAN already? Okay, quite a few. So why do we use SD-WAN? Clearly, we use SD-WAN because the market environment has massively changed, right? We all know cloud adoption is a key element for us. All of us using cloud applications day in, day out. With the pandemic, we all learned about how hybrid work could be. And I must say, I really love to see everybody in person here. But sometimes this hybrid work model is really great, right? When you know delays on the airplane, the metro is not on strike, right? You just use your WebEx, you just do your hybrid work. So that's the reality where we're finding ourselves. We're more and more reliant on the connections, right? And the connections are different than the connections we've done before. So we're having all kind of different services, and we have a mass of growing. If you look today, every business is creating an app, right? Wherever you go, you download an app, you use it. That's the forefront of the businesses, and we need to connect to those. We don't need to do that only in a connection mode. We also need to have security on that, on top of all of this. And a big challenge for all of us is automation. How do we do this? If we go there and drive the automation to this one. So this is really where we have Cisco SD-WAN created. And if you wonder Cisco SD-WAN, a lot of you are maybe familiar with the terminology Viptela in the past, right? We're trying to get into Cisco SD-WAN. Sometimes, excuse us, we're falling back into the Viptela because it just rolls nicer from the tongue. But Cisco SD-WAN is really positioned there to give you all those elements. If you look for multi-cloud access, who of you is using only a single cloud? Yeah, that was the answer I expected, right? So, because the reality is, we all need multiple clouds. And we basically built a system where you can access all of those clouds in the same way. If you go to one of the sessions, we have a deep in detail how we do that to unify that for you, to give you really a predictable experience on any form of cloud, being it a private cloud, being it AWS, being it Azure, Google, whatever you think about. The other element is how do we secure this? As we're using any transport, we can no longer assume any security. We are in a zero trust environment, right? We need to be able to secure anything from an infrastructure perspective, but also from a perspective of the applications itself. And last but not least, we all want a lot of analytics on top of that. And the analytics are really where it becomes cool, right? You see what's going on. you get the data. I put a lot of effort in to build a machine learning AI environment called WAN Insights, where we're collecting all the data and basically analyzing it, giving you actionable insights, which means we're going from being reactive to being proactive, right? A system will tell you you might have an outage or a bad experience here tomorrow at 3 o'clock. That's not because we are monitoring all the people who cut cables accidentally. It's because we're looking at what's happening in the system, and we're giving you that insight, and the next step really is to allow you also to apply these automatically to avoid that situation to your users. So if we are looking at the pragma on the layers of the SD-WAN, it gives you all the elements of being any transport, being it 5G as a new one, being it internet, being it classical MPLS, being it anything like SDCI, data center interconnects. All of those are available to you, and you unify them with the solution. And on top of that, you're building a service layer where you put your services, you put your security, you put your voice, you put your any service you want basically on that one. And on top of that, you have the deployment. You can deploy it anywhere, where you want. You have the flexibility. And this is where we have done something which is really going into innovation. So if you want to learn more about our multi-cloud and simplicity, this is where my colleague Prashant have a few sessions here at Cisco Live where he goes into detail, where you can see how we unify clouds and gives the simplicity. So for a user perspective, you really have the same experience across any of those. From an operator's perspective, from a networking guy perspective, I'm looking at it, it gives you the freedom of using all of those in a uniform way. So you don't build 10 approaches, you build one approach and you use it. That is where we're coming back to getting automation and those things done. With that, let me give you a short solution overview here, just to dive into where we are talking today. So this is the Cisco SD-WAN solution. What you see on top is the management and orchestration layer, and then you have your control plane, and on the bottom, you have your data plane. So separation of those two things, data plane and control plane completely separated, is one of the key principles. So what you have in the management, you have our three main elements, the vAnalytics, the vBond, and the vManage. These are the management systems, if you want. And then you have our workhorses, the vSmart controllers. And this is where really all the logic happens. On the bottom here, we're in the data plane. This is where all the data is transported and where all the data is really done, right? This is your routers, your elements out there in the field where you do your stuff. As we all know, these data plane elements can be any device, right? So we have our Cisco router families. You know them. If you want to see them, you can see them over there. We have some of them on display. So they're existing, even if some of them have long lead times. Yes, they are there. It's getting better at the moment, I can tell you. So, but these are our Catalyst 8300, 8200, 8500. So this is our portfolio. But that is not limited to that. You can put it into a virtual environment. You can put it on small devices. You can put it even on things like the new wireless Catalyst gateways, right? The 5G gateway. So there is a lot of option you can have. We also play that in the industrial space, right? If you want to see it in like a power station, your outdoor application, we all have that enabled. But what we're really talking today about is our orchestration layer. So this is where we do some changes. And the changes are here to make it easier for you, especially if you want to deploy these very flexible and you want to deploy very fast. So what I'm telling you now is basically not available as we speak. It will become available in Q3. So more information will be maybe on Cisco Live in US. Well, I'm giving you the preview now. So if you look at the deployment models for our controllers today, there's basically two different styles. One is what most people would call the on-prem, right? So I put my controller on my server in my data center, or my service provider, my partner is doing that. If you're a managed services provider, you can host for your customers this. This is the on-prem element you're doing. Or you're using your own cloud resources. Let's say you have a private area in AWS, you use that one. The second option, this is where a lot of customers also go, is the Cisco hosted option, right? When you buy a Cisco SD-WAN solution, we give you basically a set of controllers in the cloud from Cisco directly. You can use that. And there you have flexibility and options as well. You have the standard deployment, you have a certified deployment, so if you have certain requirements on compliance and security, like a PCI environment, right, where you have more things. Or for government clouds, especially for the US, but coming also for other areas, and maybe to your local regions also interesting. So we have certain certified environments. So the two options are available to you. So you can go to the Cisco cloud, or you can go and host it yourself. What we're adding now is what we call cloud-delivered Cisco SD-WAN. So you would say, hey, what's the difference? It's Cisco hosted and cloud-delivered. So when we give you Cisco hosted, it means we're providing you the resources, we're monitoring the stuff, right? We're monitoring the CPU, the memory, all those elements, and we're making sure it's running for you, right? But you are still the master of the installation. You define when you want to upgrade a software. You are defining what you want to do with these resources, right? You are in full control, and that's a good option for certain elements. And sometimes you say, no, I'm not interested, really. I want to just get the service out of it. And this is where we go with Cisco delivered SD-WAN. This is a more flexible consumption model where we go much, much further what we are providing to you. So what will you get there? You will get there basically a full-fledged Cisco SD-WAN element with all the elements you can think of. And we are taking care of things like software upgrades. We're taking care like how this is done. The only thing you need to care about is your local devices, right? To onboard them. Everything else will be managed from Cisco. So you don't have to go there. We're going and building that up and bringing more of that. So this will give you the simplicity you want. It reduces your operational burdens. It makes it just really good. And you get all the rich analytics we have into that platform as well. So how do we envision that this works? Let me say, it's very simple. You order, your partner, you order through CCW a SD-WAN deployment, and you order this, and you get an email notification as a second step, right? And then you can start provisioning it. So it's like a 3-click, easy step how you go through that. Let me show you a little demo. And I'm pretty honest with you, this demo is a mock-up, right? I could do a live demo, but I don't want it to because I don't know how stable at the moment the system is, and I'm terrible in typing in things in front of a live audience, so you would see all my typos, and you would really go nuts with me. So I took some screenshots in the lab. So this is basically, once you order from CCW, this service, what you would get. You would go to the SD-WAN portal, and you would get a welcome message, personalized to your element, right? So, and you say, okay, I want to create a fabric now. I want to create an SD-WAN fabric, and it's a click, and you basically start the provisioning process. So from there, you have to fill in some detail, right? There will be some details pre-filled. We know your account and all of those. But what is the virtual account you maybe want to use for this fabric? What is your name you choose? What is the location? So you start with a few basic things to feed into the system. And then you basically will get a new page where it's creating for user fabric. So we are provisioning the whole controller set. We're setting up the basic connectivity and everything in that fabric. So this is ready for you to be consumed. This will take like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on how fast things happening. But this is like fully automated. Until now, I did only click on this one. So once this process is done, I have my production-grade ready SD-WAN fabric in the cloud available to me. I don't need to do anything else to be able to start and run from here. So now you have successfully created a fabric, right? Yes, this fabric is really basic at the moment. You don't have anything running there. But what you do next is basically, now you have all of this in our diagram, basically already provisioned. You just take care now of your underlay infrastructure. And this could be any of your elements, your routers you already have in place, you want to migrate to SD-WAN. This could be any new SD-WAN router you add. This could be any new home office you provision. And if you're using plug-and-play services, this is really easy to do, right? But this is really what you want to manage, your sites. You don't want to do the other stuff. So to make it easy, we also thought about how can we make that packageable, this solution. And we thought about t-shirt sizes, right? So we thought about, let's do like something like 5 t-shirt sizes. That's what everybody can align to. And we basically say site type, how big it is, what bandwidth it could have. So you see a very small one to a very large one. You decide which one you want. And we package it basically and say, these are the software options. And you see this is Cisco SD-WAN Advantage. So you get the full SD-WAN functionality, right, of everything what we have to offer. And then we also have hardware options on the bottom. I put some selected here, so you don't have to do a lot of scaling exercise. You don't have to go through a 200-page document and do a lot of sizing. So you know exactly what platforms would fit. Still, there is choice, right, which platforms you want. You want to go fixed or modular. You want to go with the high end or the lower end, depending on cost and performance needs. But you get basically a package you can deliver. Think about if you were a service provider, a partner, how that simplifies your life if you want to offer that. As a customer, this is like just choosing what you want from a service catalog. So this is basically what cloud-delivered Cisco SD-WAN is. And there is a lot more to come. We think about this in the future, how we do that, right? And we're starting at the moment with the enterprise offering, right? So we're targeting mainly end customers. So we are going there and starting that off. Maybe June, July, somewhere in that frame, you will see that. We will have the simplified fabric operation. We have single sign-on for you. We have things coming which are like you can have your own edge servers to update your devices. You can have things like a cloud delivered for the MSP in the future, right? We're talking also with the partner space, with the SP space on it. And you will get more and more workflows into that. So you see we're going into a lot of simplification and how we drive that. Are you ready for more? So if you want to go for more, I selected some sessions. I don't know, you have all the catalog. Just pick the few one where you can get more details on this from my colleagues. If the sessions are still available, go there and have a view. And I also encourage you to visit the World of Solution. And if my orientation is right, it's basically this way. On the far corner where the sun shines through the roof, where you get basically our World of Solution SD-WAN demo. We have all the SD-WAN experts, members of my team are there to answer you any questions, to show you demos around what we have available today and how SD-WAN can work for you. Any questions left? Okay, then thank you. Continue your education. That's your housekeeping slides. So I wish you a very nice day, and I give you a few minutes extra to make your way to the keynote. Thank you very much.